Good morning and welcome back to Metro Morning Live. Joining me now, as always, is our keynote speaker for colleges, family reunions, churches, conferences, retreats, and community organizations, and, of course, national businessman, Dr. Eldridge Henderson. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us again.
Thank you.
Now, the last time we left off, Doc, we were talking about elected officials and what we needed to know about elected officials, and that's great information during this day and time when there's a big election going on. What do we need to know about these guys?
Well, it's very simple. We need to know that elected officials are our neighbors, friends, brothers and sisters, and that they don't know everything. That's the simple and basic thing to consider. They're just like Rob J. They are a regular, hard-working person,
Yes, sir.
looking for the way to get things done.
Now, is it difficult for them to get things done? When they're running for office, they say they're going to do this, they're going to fix this pothole, they're going to do this. But they really can't do all the things they say, right?
No, they shouldn't even say it in the first place. They should not be as specific as to what they're going to resolve when they get in office, because that will set them up to be a failure. And if I were a politician, I would address 3 of the most serious problems in my community and tell the people how I'm going to resolve that issue, and I give them a timeline. And then I would express that during my presentations as I move around in the district during my campaign. And that's what I would concentrate on. Once I get in office, I would hit those 3 items and resolve them with a plan, and I would be very specific. I would have it segmentized, 30, 60, 90 days. These things going to happen. I will have my research together. I would have it so it can be transparent. People will see it on the city's website or the county's website, and they'll see that I'm a career politician because I'm getting things done. Most of them want to be a career politician. You know that.
Well, Doc, most voters are not satisfied with politicians no matter what. Can that be rectified?
Of course it can. Voters are usually what I call strange characters. Less than 50% of the voters in most areas are not even registered. Only about 30% of the registered voters vote. And in most cases, they don't even do the research to find out what the politician's platform is, and they vote for the person their friends and relatives vote for, or the person they say, well, I like him or her. I think he is a good person. And they don't even know what he stands for. That causes problems, sir. Serious problems.
Yes, sir. How long should voters give politicians to get their act together?
I would be using the old Hendersonistic approach. I would give them 30, 60 to 90 days. Now, the thing is, I didn't say resolve the problem in 30, 60 to 90 days. Any politician that's worth his or her salt should already have the research done that they can get on the job and start getting things done in a very short period. You don't start talking about taxation, bad streets, infrastructure problems, or others, and not have your plan together, don't even have your staff together. You can have a tentative staff, you've done your research, have your candidates for these positions already in place, in your mind, or in your programmatic scheme, and then when you get in office, within the first 30 days, you can evaluate your situation. Most politicians don't do what we call an assessment within the first 30 days. You need to know your assets and your liabilities in that area that you're supposed to manage. Then you're supposed to get an evaluation of all of your managers. And if they have less than a 90% evaluation for the last 3 years, you're supposed to give them a 60-day plan. And if they don't move up to the standard, you're supposed to dismiss them. And at the same time, you already have your person named, ready to put in that position. But he must not just be a friend or a neighbor. He or she must be qualified. Now, just because they work with you in that campaign doesn't give them a right to get a position.
Now, do you offer advice to politicians?
I most certainly do. I've been doing it for 30 years.
What are some of the things that they ask for?
Well, they want to know, do you think I could win? That's the first thing. And I always say, well, let's talk about how much money you have in your fund. Well, I don't have very much money at all. And I said, well, my good friend, what do you think your opponents have? Well, man, they are tight. I mean, they have a lot of money. I say, you need to wait until next time, get your fundraising campaign together, raise some money, because a broke politician that wins is not a good politician. You can't do anything broke when you're trying to manage millions of dollars and you don't even have $1,000 in your bank account. You're using your credit card. Your wife, your family members are doing the same. You can't hardly make it. So that gives the contributors that have the big money an opportunity to look at your weakness. And when you find someone weak, monetarily, socially, politically, economically, religiously, anyway, you know where to whip him at. And that's when politicians and preachers and others start suffering, because those wolves come in and get them when they are weak, tell them what to do, write legislations for them, recommend who will get the contracts, and then say, I'm going to get you in a position where when you get out of this office, you're going to be fine. And I'm not going to go into that because that's sort of truthful, but it's so controversial, and most people don't want to hear the truth about two groups, the politicians and the preachers.
Doc, is it good for a guy who is, like say, a popular guy to run for an office or something? You know, like if I say, I like watching this guy on TV, I think he'll make a good mayor. Would that guy, do you advise a person like that and say, look, you're not ready to do that?
No, I don't. That's not good. I've seen too many failures. There are too many TV.
Because I remember a sportscaster once ran, not me now, but a sportscaster once ran for mayor in
what city or town?
In Jackson, and he got
I
3
remember
votes.
that.
You remember
That's
that?
right. He got, like you say, 3 or 4 votes. He voted for himself. I think his mother voted for him and his girlfriend, and that was about it. But now, in many instances,
would you advise him not to run?
I most certainly would have. He have asked. But see, a lot of you personalities are so vain. And you just think, just because someone will tell you when they see you walking the street that, oh, I enjoy what you do, that you're popular, that anybody will vote for you.
Right.
Then you make the mistake and go and get those 3 or 4 votes. And then you feel rejected. So don't make that mistake, Mr. J.
I'm not trying to
Don't run for anything. Unless now,
I'm not trying to
there
run.
is a remedy. Unless a group will get together 1 year before the next election, work with you, set up a campaign committee, and you and that group will determine what position you want to run for. Make sure they look at what it's going to cost, raise at least 90% of the funds you would take to win, and then run. Don't do it on popularity. You're wasting your time. You know you can't afford a campaign and it's going to cost $200,000. See, if you get in it, you ought to get in it to win, not to lose.
You're fussing at me, but I'm not running.
I'm not talking about you, sir. I'm just we are just talking about examples.
Yes, sir.
And you're so close. I'm just talking to you.
Because if I did run, I mean, I would run I would say we're fixing these potholes because it's ridiculous.
Well, sir, you might say that. What good would it do to fix the pothole when the pipe under the pothole is going to be clogged up next week? It's going to burst. And then the pothole is messed up
It's
again.
coming back, right?
Sir, you have to do the pipes first.
Yes, sir.
How can you work well in any infrastructure and the inner system is messed up?
I think you should run, Doc.
No, you don't think that.
Let me ask you this. Real quickly, how can people contact you again, Doc?
It's very simple. All they have to do is call 601-201-1957. And if they want to know the real news and how to solve any of their economic, political, social, religious problems, all they have to do is call me, and I can give them a plan where they can resolve those issues in 30, 60, or 90 days, guaranteed. I mean, it'll be Pacific, and all they have to do is do it.
Yes, sir. Now, when we join you next week, we want to talk about wheels and the importance of making a wheel and getting a wheel done.
Now, you know that's a serious topic,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
J.
Yes,
Very
sir.
serious.
Yes, sir.
You have your wheel yet?
No, sir, I do not.
That's a shame.
Okay. All right. We'll be back with more after this. Stay with us.